واحدة من أكثر الدول تنوعاً وإثارة في العالم، بلد يتميز بحضارته العريقة وتراثه الثقافي الغني وتقدمه اللافت في مختلف المجالات. هي قارة مصغرة وفسيفساء من الثقافات والتقاليد التي تمتد عبر آلاف السنين، حيث التقت الديانات والفلسفات وتطورت العلوم والفنون ونشأت إمبراطوريات تركت بصمتها في التاريخ، واليوم تقف كإحدى أكبر الديمقراطيات في العالم وقوة اقتصادية صاعدة تساهم في تشكيل مستقبل الاقتصاد العالمي. من بوليوود إلى التكنولوجيا، ومن القرى التقليدية إلى المدن الذكية، ومن الأطباق الشهية إلى الصناعات المتطورة، بلد يجمع بين الأصالة والحداثة بطريقة فريدة تجعلها وجهة مثيرة للاهتمام لكل من يسعى لاكتشاف العالم. تواصل الهند مسيرتها على الساحة الدولية، حيث تلعب دوراً محورياً في السياسة العالمية وتحقق معدلات نمو اقتصادي مبهرة جعلتها من أكبر الاقتصادات الصاعدة. وفي ظل هذه التحولات نشهد أيضاً تطوراً ملحوظاً في العلاقات التجارية بين الهند ودول العالم، وخاصة الكويت، حيث أصبحت الهند شريكاً استراتيجياً في مجالات عدة مثل التكنولوجيا والطاقة والصناعة والتعليم وغيرها. أهلا بكم مشاهدينا في حلقة جديدة من برنامجكم مع السفير. معي ومعكم الليلة سعادة سفير جمهورية الهند الصديقة دكتور أدارش سويكا في حوار يسخر بالمحبة والثقافة والتشويق. دكتور أدارش, welcome to our program.
Thank you, Ms. Shamaila, for having me on your program.
Your Excellency, can you share with us your impressions of Kuwait and your experience as the Indian ambassador here?
I must definitely confess that this has been a very exciting experience in Kuwait. Kuwait, I have seen in the last 2 years how it has worked upon various aspects. For me, as an Indian ambassador, it is a great pleasure to be in this country, which has the Indian community as the largest community. We have such historical linkages between India and Kuwait, dating back to 200, 300 years, or even to Felaka. So I think the warmth of the people among our Kuwaiti friends, and most importantly, you feel as if it's the second home. So overall, I would say that it has been a very, very exciting experience, a very satisfying experience for me in Kuwait.
Yes. Your Excellency, how do you evaluate the bilateral relations between the two countries, its past, present, and future perspective?
As I just mentioned, we have a very, very long history of our relations. You would be aware, in fact, most of our Kuwaiti friends are aware that the history of India-Kuwait relations goes back to centuries. And it started with Kuwaiti merchants and sailors traveling to the Indian subcontinent with various commodities, for example, Arabian horses and dates and pearls. And they used to bring back a lot of Indian commodities like timber, textiles, spices, etc. And that has been the hallmark of a relationship. Yes. The maritime contacts, the commercial contacts. Many of the merchant families had their offices in India, be it in Mumbai or Surat or Porbandar, Kochi. In fact, many of the Indians learnt how to estimate pearl weight from our Kuwaiti friends. So it has a long history, and therefore I think that is being reflected in our relations. We have excellent relations, I would say time-tested relations. And recently, the visit of Honorable Prime Minister of India, His Excellency Narendra Modi, has put this relationship in a very, very strong footing. We have declared strategic partnership. And therefore, I feel that we have all the ingredients, whether you take the past relationship or the current context. I think we have all the ingredients for a much stronger India-Kuwait partnership in future.
Yes. Your Excellency, can we speak more about the bilateral trade between the two countries?
Bilateral trade, again, as I mentioned just now, has been the most important pillar of India-Kuwait relation, because historically we have been trading, and therefore this is a very, very natural, we are very natural partners in trade. So today, if you see, our bilateral trade would be in the range of $10 to $11 billion. It has been in the range of 10 to 17 billion US dollars in the last, I would say, a decade or so. And largely it has been focused on energy supplies from Kuwait and food and other supplies from India. But we are seeing a change now. We are seeing a diversification in the Indian export basket. We are seeing made in India cars here. We are seeing made in India automobile spares, machinery items. For the first time last year, our exports touched $2 billion US dollars, and that's showing signs of diversification. So I feel that trade will continue to be a very, very important pillar. In India, we have now the Make in India initiative, under which a lot of Indian products are being made, and I'm sure that they will find place in the Kuwaiti market. Similarly, I think Kuwait is diversifying from the oil economy to non-oil economy as well. Yeah. So India being such a huge market, there will be a lot of scope for Kuwaiti products in future in India. So I think we continue to be very optimistic on the bilateral trade. We are also discussing the India GCC free trade agreement. I think once that comes into shape, that will also give a strong impetus to India-Kuwait bilateral trade.
Yeah. Speaking about the trade, Your Excellency, what is the volume of the Kuwaiti investments in India and the most outstanding efforts to attract more investments?
This is a subject where I think there is a lot of conversation happening between both sides. The embassy particular has been very proactive and in telling our Kuwaiti friends about the investment opportunities in India. Today, the Indian economy is the 5th largest in the world. It is going to be 3rd largest very soon. It is growing at almost 7% for the last decade. It has attracted over $600 billion in the last 1 decade. So it has all the attractiveness which economy can offer for investors. And that's why I think we look very positively to investments from Kuwait. As of now, there have been investments in the steel sector, in the hospitality sector, in the logistics sector from Kuwait. And we hope that we will see much more investments from Kuwait into India, given the attractiveness of the Indian economy.
Speaking also more about this topic, Your Excellency, how do you see the Kuwait 2035 vision? To what extent are the Indian companies interested in its huge projects?
I think Vision 2035 of Kuwait essentially is positioning Kuwait as a connectivity and financial hub in the region. And we are now seeing that the government of Kuwait is proactively engaged in a lot of infrastructure projects to see that there is a lot of capital expenditure in these projects. And I remain very bullish on Indian companies participating in these projects. Not to say that Indian companies have been involved in a lot of infrastructure projects. For example, the Al Sabah hospital has been made by an Indian company. The electricity transmission line between Kuwait and Iraq is being done by some of the Indian companies. The Kuwait University new complex is done by an Indian company. The South Soda Road project is being done by an Indian company. A lot of oil and gas sector, electrical substation and transmission lines are being done by Indian companies, even in the oil industry. So I think there are a host of Indian companies which are present. They are now very keen to enter into the Kuwaiti market. I think the visit of Honorable Prime Minister of India has actually given a strong impetus to the businesses. And today you see Indian businesses are acquiring companies worldwide. They are very active globally. So I'm sure that there will be a lot of interest among Indian companies for infrastructure projects under Vision 2035.
Yes. How can you describe the coordination between the two countries in the international arena?
That again, if you speak of international level, the UN and the multilateral level, we have excellent coordination with Kuwait. We are part of many regional and plurilateral groupings. When Kuwait was a non-permanent member of UN Security Council in 2019-20, and we were in 2021-22, we have very active cooperation with Kuwait. Kuwait is a member of a Human Rights Commission. We are a member of Human Rights Commission today. On regional, Kuwait joined the Shanghai Cooperation Organization during India's presidency of the Shanghai Cooperation Organization. Kuwait is taking a very active role in the Asian Cooperation Dialogue, of which we are also a member. So I think there are a lot of institutional groupings where both of us are working very strongly together. And particularly, if you speak of the GCC, today Kuwait is the current GCC president. And India and GCC have now established a strategic dialogue at the level of foreign ministers. And we have also agreed on a joint action plan between India and GCC. So we are very confident that under Kuwait's GCC presidency, we will see a lot of strength in India-GCC relations. We are also, as I told you, negotiating an India-GCC free trade area agreement. Again, that is something where we will expect more progress. So I think all in all, India-Kuwait relations bilaterally, multilaterally in the UN are very strong.
Yes, definitely. مشاهدينا فاصل ونرجع نكمل معاكم الحوار. مشاهدينا رجعنا لكم من بعد الفاصل نستكمل حوارنا مع سعادة سفير جمهورية الهند لدى البلاد دكتور أدارش سويكا. Doctor, welcome back. Doctor, what about Kuwait's humanitarian role in both natural disasters or man-made ones?
I can personally say that, particularly from the bilateral perspective, since we have touched this topic, I think Kuwait was of great support to India during the COVID times. I think when the second wave of COVID struck India in, I think it was March, April 2021, we actually required a lot of liquid medical oxygen. I myself was one of the COVID victims that time, and I remember that the large amount of liquid medical oxygen which Kuwait sent to us, I think was useful in saving so many lives. And the entire country, actually, our Prime Minister mentioned it also about this. Similarly, India also sent a medical mission to Kuwait. We sent COVID vaccines to Kuwait. I think that was a true example of how two countries' relationship are when you actually show solidarity. You actually show friendship between the two countries. So Kuwait has been at the forefront. And now what you see in Gaza, what you see in Lebanon, what you see in Syria is an example of how Kuwait has been at the forefront of such humanitarian assistance. So I think it has a very important role in the region on such matters.
Yes. Your Excellency, speaking about your efforts here as an ambassador, what are the most important efforts exerted by the embassy to encourage and reinforce cultural exchange?
Culture is one area where actually we have been very, very proactive. I think we organized almost 200 plus programs when we were celebrating our 60th anniversary of diplomatic relations 2 years back. Since then, we have continued to bring to our Kuwaiti friends the flavor of Indian culture, whether it is concerts by renowned Indian musicians or whether it is to participate in Kuwait's national festival, whether it is a Summer Al-Quran festival or otherwise. So we have been doing a different kind of programs to showcase different facets of India, whether it is dance performances, music, Bollywood, which you mentioned in your, I think, opening statement, cinema. So I think there is so much of cultural affinity between the two countries. And that is what is our effort to bring more and more Indian culture to Kuwait. So embassy is very much engaged in that. We recently had in Jack in November a big concert by famous Indian violin player L. Subramaniam. We are, during our National Day celebrations, we had a good amount of cultural performances. This weekend, we are going to organize an India Day celebration. It's called Bharat Mela, where there will be non-stop cultural performances in the Salmiya cricket ground. There will be a lot of food. There will be other flavors of India. So you will see Indian culture, and that's being organized by the embassy. So I think that has been our effort, that's because our Kuwaiti friends like it. They are so involved in Indian culture. So that will continue to be a part of our embassy's efforts.
Your Excellency, do you announce on this events on social media channels?
Yes, we do. We do. Actually, for this Bharat Mela, we announced today on the social media. It is on the platform, and we announce most of the events we announce, unless some events are by invitation, then we don't announce.
Yeah. Your Excellency, as we all know, India is a world-renowned tourist destination. How do you see tourism contributing to the strengthening of relations between the two countries?
This again is a very big focus area of our embassy. Uh, we have been organizing various tourism promotion events, but leave tourism promotion events. India is a country, as I say, a 365-day experience country. So you go to India at any given point of time, you find a tourist destination. We have been fortunately endowed by God to have mountains, rivers, beaches, hill stations. So if you go in summers, you will find a hill station. If you go in winters, you will find somewhere where the temperatures are not that low. You find all the four seasons. Rainy season, the place which receives the highest rainfall in the world is in India. So I think what has happened in the last few years has been that the tourism infrastructure has improved drastically. Today we have 150 airports. 10 years back, we had 75 airports.
Wow.
Today, we have high-speed trains now, Vande Bharat trains running on India. There are 6-lane highways across. Road travel has become so easy. So I think from 7-star hotels to budget hotels, the range is there. So I think adventure tourism, wildlife, beaches from Goa to Lakshadweep. So I think India is a country which offers so much of tourism, wellness, which is so much popular with our Kuwaiti friends, wellness and Ayurveda. So I think that is our effort to promote tourism to India. And we are seeing an increase in tourism from India, from Kuwait.
Definitely. Your Excellency, are there any cultural similarities between the Indians and Kuwaitis that you've noticed?
I think quite a few. You would agree with me that we have so many common words. For example, we are sitting on a chair we call kursi, both of us. You're handling something, and kitab is something, and chai and biryani. So so many common words, traditions. For example, you have such a strong joint family system. Similarly in India. So I think there are so much of the way we interact, the spices we use, though we may not use in the exact way, but the same ingredients we use it differently, but there is so much of Indian flavor. So I think we are very closely connected. When I came here, I thought I'm coming to a different country, but when I landed, I saw it's similar to my country. So that's why I told you, it's not just that I'm saying for the sake of saying that it's a second home. You ask any Indian, why are we the largest community today in Kuwait? Because they feel it as a second home. So that's the feeling, and that will only come when there is a connect. Prime Minister Modi addressed the Indian community at a very large gathering here, 5,000 people, and he said that we are not only connected by diplomacy, we are connected by hearts.
Yes, definitely.
So I think that's the reason where you find that the Indian community is the largest community in Kuwait.
Exactly, and there is a huge harmony between Kuwaitis and Indians in most of the sectors, as you mentioned. Your Excellency, we want to ask you other questions. When did you present your credentials? What are the most outstanding memories about that day?
Oh, that's a really special thing because for the first time ambassador, this is my first ambassadorial posting, and for any ambassador to present credentials to the leader of the country is a very, very special moment, particularly for the first time, and it was the first time for me in Kuwait. I did it in, I think, March 2023, and I had presented to His Highness the Amir, who was then the Crown Prince, and I think it was really a privilege to meet him, to have a brief conversation with him on different facets. He was very much knowing about India. He asked me certain things about India, and so I think it was really, and then to have the Guard of Honor by the Special Amiri Guards. So I think it makes things very memorable. So I think it's really a special moment for me.
Yeah. Your Excellency, you just mentioned the food point, and you mentioned that there is a similarity in the ingredients. So can you name me a dish in the Kuwaiti cuisine you've tried that you liked?
I like some of the Kuwaiti, but since I'm a vegetarian, I am constrained in enjoying many of the popular traditional Kuwaiti dishes, but on particularly the deserts, which some of the you have the Omali and also some of the sweets which also resemble to Indian sweets. They're quite good, and I like them. But unfortunately, I can't eat meat, so I think I am not able to partake majboos, and so that's the constraint. But I really like the Kuwaiti desserts particularly.
Yes. What is the most important Kuwaiti tradition you can describe as unique?
I think that can be only one Divania.
Yeah.
And I think that's such a tradition. I don't think it is there in other GCC countries to the extent it is in Kuwait. And I find that it actually resembles, people say that democracy in Kuwait came much earlier, before Kuwait came as an independent nation. And to be a part of Divania, to go without any invitation, and there is no hierarchy there. Anybody can go, it's an open thing. And I had a very, very funny incident in my first year when I was visiting the Divaniyas during the Ramadan. I actually went into a wrong Divaniya, though every Divaniya is open for, but generally ambassadors go to certain fixed Divaniyas, and I actually went to a Divaniya where no ambassadors had gone, because there were so many Divaniyas nearby, and the people there realized that I have not come there, and when I met everybody, then they said, you want to actually go to this Divaniya, so we will tell you where to go. So actually, that's what it is, that even if you're going to, and most of the Divaniyas, you go uninvited, it's an open thing. So I think that's a fantastic tradition which you have.
Definitely. مشاهدينا فاصل ونرجع لكم. مشاهدينا رجعنا لكم من بعد الفاصل نستكمل حوارنا مع السفير. Your Excellency, speaking about the Kuwaiti traditions, can you tell us more about Ramadan here in Kuwait?
Ramadan, I think, is very somewhat different than what we see in India. In India, it's a lot of festivities around the streets, in different cities and all that. In Kuwait, I saw a different shade of Ramadan, that it becomes active in the night when you have a lot of Divaniyas. So for ambassadors particularly, we visit so many Divaniyas in the night from 9 to 12 in the night, and that's a fascinating, a little harrowing experience also, that you skip from one Divaniya to another and all, but it was really memorable, particularly in the first year when I came in, to meet so many people in one go, and to meet very high-ranking officials, prominent people, different walks of life. It's a very good opportunity to meet people, and in a very simple way. So that is what Ramadan reminded me of. And also, I had started in my embassy to host a Ramadan Gapka, and we are very happy to receive our Kuwaiti friends, our diplomatic friends, and also members of the Indian community select, obviously, because I do in my garden, which has limited space. But actually, it's such a good experience and I think people look forward to it, and I am looking forward to host another Ramadan Gapka this year in March.
Yes, definitely. Your Excellency, we want to speak more about your community. What is the number of your community, and how do you communicate with them?
Community, I would say, is a living bridge between our two countries, a very vital link between our two countries. You would be aware that it is the largest community in Kuwait, crossed 1 million now, almost 20% of the population in Kuwait, 30% of the workforce. So I think the numbers speak for themselves, and the numbers are because they have a lot of goodwill in Kuwait. So wherever I go, all the Kuwaiti interlocutors, they tell me that your community is very peace-loving, and they have contributed to the development of Kuwait. When Prime Minister Modi came here, he was told by the leadership of Kuwait about the contribution of Indians to the development of Kuwait. And you see Indian community on almost all departments. Whether it is private sector, we are the largest. Domestic sector, we are the largest. We are also present in the government sector. So I think they are entrenched in all sectors of Kuwaiti economy. So I think for us, it is a matter of pride that they find a very good place in the Kuwaiti society. We do interact with them. So since it's a very large community, it's not possible to interact with them physically, but we have a large number of community associations registered with us. We engage them in different cultural programs from time to time. We reach out to them through community representatives, through the social media platforms. I conduct an open house every week or every fortnight where any Indian can come with his complaint or his grievance and can meet me, and we will try to assist him to the extent possible. So I think that is how we reach out to the community, and they are very helpful in organizing programs and other things.
Yeah, so you communicate with them by different channels.
Different channels, yes.
Your Excellency, can you tell us more about the Prime Minister's visit here to Kuwait?
Prime Minister of India, Honorable Prime Minister of India, Narendra Modi, visited Kuwait in December, and this was a visit that happened after 43 years that an Indian Prime Minister came to Kuwait, and it was long awaited. And I would say that as an ambassador, that the visit was very, very successful, both in terms of the outcomes and the symbolism. And you would have heard that His Highness the Emir conferred on him the highest national award of Kuwait, the Order of Mubarak al-Kabir. Prime Minister Modi was invited as a special guest of His Highness the Emir for the opening of the 26th Arabian Gulf Cup. I think both these gestures were very widely acknowledged by Prime Minister himself and the Government of India. It showed that the importance which the Kuwaiti leadership attaches to its relationship with India. So the Prime Minister met with all the three highnesses, His Highness the Emir, His Highness the Crown Prince, and His Highness the Prime Minister. They had talks with all the three leaders, very substantive talks on how we look at India-Kuwait relationship. The most important element of the visit was elevation of our bilateral relations to a strategic partnership. We had three significant MOUs on defense cooperation, sports, and culture being signed. Kuwait also became a signatory to the International Solar Alliance, which is an international body headquartered in India. So I think Prime Minister also addressed, as I was mentioning to you earlier, a large gathering of Indian nationals, and he had the opportunity to visit a labor camp in Kuwait as well. So I think the visit was very comprehensive. It touched all important aspects of our relations with Kuwait. And I think the leadership of both countries, they agreed on a number of steps, and we are following up on that. We hope that we will be able to turn a new leaf in India-Kuwait relations. And I'm sure that many elements of this strategic partnership will manifest itself in different ways in times to come. So we are very, very optimistic on seeing our relations, I would say, upgrade substantially from where they are today.
Yes, definitely. Your Excellency, speaking about being in Kuwait and it's your second home, can you share a memorable experience you've noticed or you had during your time in Kuwait?
I think every day has its own memory, so I can't figure out any special moment. But I would say that there's so many special memories during my. I've just done 2 years and 2 months, and there are different memories of different times. So,
anything you remember?
Particularly, I think you see that our embassy is just across the Gulf Road, and therefore I think the walk on the Gulf Road at times in the evenings when I walk, I think it's a really very soothing experience. It takes away the pressure, it takes away a lot of stress if you are in. So that's a very, and even from my office, if you see, it's just overseas the Persian Gulf, the Arabian Gulf area. So I think that's something which I'm very fortunate to have 24/7 access to.
Yeah. Your Excellency, thank you for your time. We appreciate being with you. مشاهدينا، وصلنا معاكم لنهاية حلقة هذا اليوم من برنامجكم مع السفير. على أمل أن نراكم في حلقة أخرى. دمتم في أمان الله ورعايته.